All right, we are back here. We are going to dive deep into these books because I feel like I need to with this class, considering it's supposed to be super unique and really complex. So let's go ahead and look at these abilities together and maybe figure out some nice synergies and some combos with this class. So Warp Link, instant cast, 50-yard range, 7-second cooldown. After 6 seconds, you are warped back to the marked location. Okay, so kind of like the Fell Gateway from Warlocks, but this is just after time. So you could avoid raid mechanics with this. You could use this in PvP scenarios. Nice. I like it. That's cool. Aspect of Arcana. Instant. Regenerates 3% of your maximum mana every 5 seconds while active. Spell Wrath, Rune Blast, Primordial Blast, Unleash Runes, and your word spells will have a chance to stun the target enemy for 1.5 seconds. Only one aspect can be active at a time. So depending on how insane mana is for this class, this might be just like the PvP aspect due to the stuns and whatnot. Khadgar's Revenge, instant cast, 40-yard range, 1 minute cooldown. Okay. Instantly consume a silence effect from an ally to increase their spell haste by 60 to 59% for 10 seconds. Obviously, the numbers are a little wonky because the alpha, but that's cool. So this spell can be cast while silenced. So if you're silenced in a PvP battle and want to unsilence an ally to help with the fight, that's pretty cool. This might have some raid and some PvE implications, depending on if you can actually eat silences and raids. We'll see. That seems really cool. Nice. Devour Mana, 12-second cooldown, 30-yard range instant, destroys 111 to 118 of your target's mana. For each mana point burn, the target takes 1.5 arcane damage. Okay, so kind of just like mana burn, which is fine. Aspect of Chaos, instant. While active, Spell Wrath, Rune Blast, Primordial Blast, Unleash Runes, and your word spells will have a 10% chance to spark a random salvo. Okay, so this seems like the main DPS aspect, so you get more salvos. That would be sweet, dude. I could just see torrents and torrents of those salvos coming out. I think that's really sick. Cosmic Impact, instant cast, 40-second cooldown, increase your spell, critical strike. So this is the Cosmic Impact spell, and these spells down here give you the effect of Cosmic Impact. So that's another way to get the third stack. So it looks like you have to kind of stack all these in a very strategic way, and hopefully you can keep them up. Magic Lock, 25% or 25 mana, 20-yard range, 25-second cooldown, instant cast, silence an enemy, preventing it from casting spells for 5 seconds. Cool. So just a basic interrupt silence. Lay Walk, instant, 18-second cooldown, teleport the target 12 yards forward, unless something is in the way. Also frees the caster from any root effects. Nice. That's really good for PvP. Could have some raid effects. Warp Shift, 50 mana, 40-yard range, 30-second cooldown, instant cast. You deal arcane damage to an enemy and switch positions with them. Yo, that's really sick. I could see some PvP big brain boys, jumping off cliffs with the warp gate, and then like marking it, running off the cliff, warp shifting somebody, switching positions, and just letting them fall to their death. That's gonna be cool in PvP. That's gonna be sweet. Open Rift Gate, 1 second cast, 1 minute cooldown, tears open a rift in space that will exist for 2 minutes. You can use the Rift Gate to set your Hearthstone location or interact with it being other spells. Okay, so yeah, Fell Gateway, that's pretty cool. Rift Gate Prison, ooh, okay. 50 mana, instant cast, 12-second cooldown, 40-yard range, teleports the target enemy to the nearest Rift Gate and stuns them for 2 seconds. Dope, okay. Rift Gate Transfer, you teleport to the nearest Rift Gate, also pretty sick. So you can set these up for PvE and PvP reasons. That's pretty sweet. Plasma Ball, 10 mana, 30-yard range, 1.36 second cast, builds up a ball of plasma in your hand and fires to a target enemy, dealing arcane damage. Pretty standard. Plasma Caster, 1.5 minute cooldown, instant, increase your magic damage by 20% and your spell haste by 40% for 10 seconds. While active, your Plasma Ball will consume 1 inscribed rune, to cast twice. Interesting. Okay, so you can consume inscribed runes, which we don't have access to yet, but I'm assuming we'll see that in the talent tree soon. Mana Storm, instant cast, 1.5 second cooldown, fire a stream of magic missile into the air, striking all enemies within 15 yards, dealing arcane damage to each target hit. Cool. All right, that is the Arcane side. Let's look at Runic. Jesus, this one is a lot. Word of Flame, instant cast, 30-yard range, 3-second cooldown. It requires 1 inscribed rune. You mark an enemy with a magical word. After 5 seconds, it will cause fire damage. Cool. Inscribed Rune, 5 mana, 1 second cast. You can create an inscribed rune used to power some abilities, lasts until canceled. You can hold up to 8 of these at a time. Sick. Field of Clarity, 100-yard range, instant. Your runic familiar emanates a field of clarity, causing allies within 5 yards of it to regenerate 5% of their maximum mana every 5 seconds. Sick. That's like a raid-wide and PvP mana regen. That'll be good. Call of the Spirits, instant. Reduce your physical damage taken by 15% and causes you to hover above the ground. This effect breaks on movement. Okay, so... So you can warp around in PvP and reduce damage taken. That's pretty cool. Rune Feed, 40-yard range, instant. Dispels a magic effect on a friendly target, removing 1 harmful spell to them and to generate an inscribed rune. Okay, that's cool. Unleash Runes, instant cast, 30-yard range, 30-second cooldown. Consume all your inscribed runes and begin firing magic missiles at an enemy target every 0.25 seconds. Okay, lasts at least 1 second. Increased by half a second for each inscribed rune consumed. Grants 1 stack of cosmic impact when used. So this is kind of like the payoff ability. I could see that being pretty insane. So if you consume all 8 of them, you get 8 seconds of that. Wow, it's gonna be really powerful. Aspect of Runes, instant. Increase the cost of your magical spells by 100%, but increase your spell damage by 130% of your spirit. Holy shit, that is gonna be ridiculous. Wow, 130% of your spirit. That's crazy. So if you can sustain the mana, damn, that's gonna be insane. Word of Frost, 30-yard range, 3-second cooldown, instant cast. Requires 1 inscribed rune. You mark an enemy with a magical word. After 5 seconds, they will be stunned for 3.5 seconds. Pretty strong. Runemaster's Rage, instant cast, 2-minute cooldown. Increase your spell haste by 44% for 12 seconds. Jesus. While active, the critical strike bonus of your Spell Wrath, Primordial Blast, and Rune Blasts is increased by 100%. My lord. That's a big cooldown. Familiar, Cosmic Force, 40-yard range, 20-second cooldown, instant cast. Stuns all enemies within 8 yards of your Runic Familiar for 3 seconds. That is sick. That's going to be really good for PvP. I could see there being some raid requirements for that, like some raid spawns for that, specifically like in ZG and stuff that stuns enemies. That's pretty cool. Augur's Shield, instant cast, 10-second cooldown, absorbs up to X amount of damage from any source, lasts 10 seconds. While this is active, your threat generation is increased by 40%. You regenerate 2% of your base mana every 2 seconds. So, I don't know if this is actually going to ever be like a tank class. I would imagine that's just kind of like a double-edged sword. You generate more of your mana, but your threat regeneration is a little bit higher. So, you know, I like things that are, you know, have an upside, but also a good downside. Word of Oblivion, 30-yard range, 3-second cooldown, instant cast. Requires 1 inscribed rune. You mark an enemy with a magical word. After 5 seconds, they become afflicted with a debuff that will increase their damage taken by 10% and deal arcane damage every 0 seconds for 6 seconds. So, again, probably the numbers are a little off just because it's an alpha. Smoldering Runes, 3-minute cooldown, instant. For the next 15 seconds, your spell criticals will spark a random salvo. Yet another salvo trigger. That's awesome. Familiar Runic Unmaking, 40-yard range, 20-second cooldown, instant cast. Your Runic Familiar emanates Runic Unmaking for 10 seconds, causing all enemies within 8 yards to take a 15% increased magical damage. Okay. Familiar Arcane Swiftness, 40-yard range, 20-second cooldown, instant cast. Your Runic Familiar emanates Arcane Swiftness for 10 seconds, causing all allies within 8 yards of it to have increased attack speed, spell haste, and movement speed. No percentage given there, but I'd imagine that's still probably going to be really good. Spellweaver requires level 20. Your critical strikes with arcane spells will make your next Spell Wrath, Primordial Blast, Rune Blast, Unleash Runes, and Word Spell instant and usable regardless of its cooldown, but reduces its damage by 40%. Interesting. Rune of Power. Okay. Rune of Power increased your spell haste by 40%, increased magical damage dealt by all allies standing upon it. So that's pretty much just straight out of WoW, which is cool. I mean, I think it's a cool spell. Atomic Split, 2-minute cooldown, 1.5 second cast, I'd assume. You melt your form into a sphere of arcane mist, allowing you to fly for 6 seconds and increasing your movement speed by 100% for the duration. If you're in combat, when you cast this effect, the duration of this effect is significantly reduced. That is so sick. You literally turn into an atom and run and like fly around. That is dope. Okay, that's really cool. Ruined Orb, 40-yard range, 2.27 second cast. Blast the enemy for arcane damage, making your next arcane spell within 12 seconds a guaranteed critical strike and gives it 40% increased critical strike bonus. This spell cannot critically strike itself. Cool. Runic Innovation. Increase your spell damage by 20% of your spirit. Every 20 seconds, you will gain innovation for 4 seconds. Increasing your spell haste by 100% and making your spells and abilities free to use. Whoa. That must be a passive because there's no cast on it or anything. Improved atomic split, nice. Increase the duration of your atomic split ability by 10 seconds or 2 seconds if in combat, and increase the flight speed granted by the spell by 50%. Also reduces magic taken by 4% at all times. Sick. All right, that's dope. Rift Blade. Okay, so this is like the melee class part of it. Interesting. Melee range, 2.5 second cooldown. Instant cast requires melee weapon. An instant strike that deals arcane damage. This ability cannot miss. Cool. Consumes your essences to perform an effect based on the combination. Refer to individual lost page passives for these combinations. Okay, cool. Mana Strike, 1 second cooldown, requires daggers specifically. Instantly attack the target for frostfire damage and steal mana from them. Cool. Fireblade. 1.5 second cooldown, instant of course. An instant strike that deals fire damage, generates 1 fire essence. Interesting. Excuse me, I just knocked my pop filter into my mic. Sorry about that. Ice Blade, 3 second cooldown. Your next melee attack will deal additional frost damage and slow your target's movement speed by 40% for 1 second. Grants 1 frost essence. Okay, next is Dart. 3 second cooldown, 20-yard range. Blast the enemy for arcane damage, generates 1 arcane essence. Unlocks the Pyro Strike Essence combination. Pyro Strike deals damage, fire damage to the target. Requires 3 fire essence. Okay, Fracture. Man, there's a lot. Instant, 10-second cooldown. You deliver 3 swift strikes to an enemy, dealing arcane damage. Your dodge chance is reduced, by 50% while channeling. Okay. Aspect of Dominion, increase all threat you generate by 80% and gives you 8% chance to reflect any harmful spell cast upon you. Interesting. So maybe you can tank. They have a tanking stance, basically. Mana Shroud, 10-second cooldown. You shroud your form in arcane mist, turning you invisible. Lasts until canceled. Cannot be used in combat. Damn, that's gonna be powerful. Lost Page, Crippling Chill. Unlock the Crippling Chill Essence combination. Crippling Chill inflicts frostfire damage to the target and reduces their movement speed and melee attack speed by 30% for 20 seconds. Jeez. Requires 2 fire essence and 1 frost essence. Okay, so that's like that one, that combination thing they were talking about. That's cool. Ignite Mana. Ignite mana burns a portion of target's mana, dealing spell fire damage each tick. Again, requiring a combination. Prismatic Blade requires daggers. Inflicts normal weapon damage to an enemy target as arcane damage and taunts them to attack you for 2 seconds. Okay. Mage Breaker. Instant cast, 30-yard range, 25-second cooldown. Steal a beneficial magic effect from the target. This effect lasts a maximum of 2 minutes. If you successfully steal an effect this way, the target suffers 60% reduced spell haste and 200% increased ability resource cost for 5 seconds. So you can do that on anybody. That's dope. Imbue, instant, 1 minute cooldown. You imbue your rune dagger with immense magical power, increasing your attack speed by 50% for 6 seconds. While active, the base arcane damage dealt by rune daggers is increased by 50%. Sweet. Man, this class has so much stuff. Unlock the Expel Flame Essence combination. Expel Flame deals fire damage to all enemies within 10 yards, plus an additional fire damage over 10 seconds. Again, requires Arcane Essence and Fire Essence. Unlocks the Shatter Essence combination. Deals frost damage to enemies within 10-yard frontal cone, freezing them in place for 6 seconds. Enemies below 35 health take an additional amount of frost damage. Cool. Lost Page, Mage Guard. Mage Guard interrupts the target enemy's spell and then creates a magical shield on you that reduces all damage you take by 25% and gives you a 15% chance to reflect harmful spells. Lasts 15 seconds or until you are hit by 10 harmful spells. Cool. Brain Spill, that sounds awesome. 40-yard range, instant cast, 30-second cooldown, prevents an enemy target from regenerating mana, energy, or focus for 10 seconds. Okay. Warp Dagger requires stealth, dope. Instantly teleport behind an enemy target and strike them for 300% weapon damage as arcane. Can only be used during Mana Shroud. Requires dagger to be main hit. That's dope. Okay. So it's like a, what is it? Shadow Step. Yeah. From rogues, and you stab them. That's pretty dope. Prismatic Form, instant, increase your dodge rating by 150% of your intellect, increase all threat you generate by 20%. Whenever you dodge or parry an attack, you gain 10% increased attack speed and 10% increased parry chance for 12 seconds, stacking up to 3 times. Okay, awesome. Oh, we're almost there, guys. Sorry, this is taking a long time, but I felt like I needed to give you guys the full rundown of this class. Unlocks the Deep Freeze Essence combination. Deep Freeze inflicts frost damage and stuns the target for 4 seconds. Sick. Last page, Expel Frost. Let's see, Expel Frost inflicts frost damage to nearby enemies and freeze them in place for 10 seconds, requiring 2 Arcane Essence and 1 Frost Essence, so one of the combination ones. Last page, Runic Winds. Runic Winds regenerates 24% of your maximum health, 40% of your maximum energy, and 40% of your maximum mana over 8 seconds. Requires 1 Fire, Frost, and Arcane Essence. That's cool. So you gotta have 1 of each. That's dope. Phase Out, instant 3-minute cooldown. Vanish from sight, entering an improved stealth mode for 10 seconds. Convergence. 50-yard range, instant, 15-second cooldown. Instantly generates 1 Fire, Frost, and Arcane Essence. That's sick. So you can use that and immediately use Runic Winds. That's going to be sweet. And finally, last page, Spell Burst. Spell Burst inflicts arcane damage to all enemies within 10 yards and silence them for 3 seconds. Requires 3 Arcane Essence. Jesus Christ. Okay, so that is a lot of stuff. It's really hard to really tell what this class is going to be best at, tanking, DPS, combination of both. I don't know. This class seems insane. If you stuck around this far, awesome. I'm glad you guys liked the video. I'll be making another video here soon, probably on the Son of Rugal, just based off the poll that I did earlier. So that's going to be it, guys. That's going to be it. If you stuck this far, awesome. Thank you so much. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, subscribe below. I'll be back with more content. You guys enjoy the night. Bye-bye.